Are you looking for a versatile, wireless, intuitive modern scanner with no hidden fees and lifetime free updates? Well, this ANCEL FX6000 supports 4 major systems, has bidirectional capabilities, 7 special reset functions, and it's surprisingly affordable. So, let's check it out. In this video, I will show you if this scanner is worth your time and money by going over all of the features and highlighting what are the negatives and the positives of this scanner, especially in this price range. There's a lot to talk about here, so let's start with what comes in the box. In the box, well, you get a nice carrying case, which is always good to see. We have the manual with a couple of specs and not really that much more information, but it does come in a ton of other languages. We also have the 2 cables, so we have the OBD2 cable as well as the USB cable. This scanner is battery powered, however, it does charge when you plug it into a car, but if you want to charge it separately, you can using that USB cable. And now we have the unit in the car after I have updated everything. So I went through all of the updates, and as you can see, nothing is available to update because everything is upgraded. And of course, that's a good thing to do before you start working in any of the cars. And what's really impressive is that this unit has free lifetime Wi-Fi updates. So this is over-the-air updates. You don't have to plug this into a computer or anything like that. There's also no registration. There's no hidden cost. It basically comes as you see, and you get to upgrade for free forever, or at least as long as ANCEL exists. And of course, they've been here for a while, so I trust them enough that they will be here for the next 5-10 years or however long. Anyway, going back to this scanner, we can see there's quite a few options in here, but we can quickly jump into the settings, and yeah, you can fill in like customer information, business information, so when you run reports, it will show up on there. You can clear everything out of the system, so if you want to resell it in a couple of years, you can do that. Very nice to see. Some scanners attach the scanner to your account and you can't resell it after. I don't really like that anymore. And of course, there's a few other options here. You can enable photo albums, you can take a screenshot, you can enable screen recorder, will record your screen, of course. A bunch of this other stuff, like feedback. Well, you can send feedback to the company service console. So this will be your OBD2 code library and some user manual information. You can learn a little bit more here. File is going to be all the reports that you run. So if you run a report, you can find it here. It will automatically save it here, or you can also save it as a PDF, as well as all of your screenshots and video recordings will go in here as well. Other stuff, we're going to go a little bit more in depth to. I also really like that it has physical buttons. You don't have to use them. It has a pretty decent touch screen, but if you like, you can, especially if you have dirty hands. You can use the buttons and then easily wipe them off. Other than that, the unit is physically fairly simple, but it is nice to hold in hand. It doesn't have a handle or anything like that, but it does have this nice rubberized silicone type case around it. It's integrated, so probably not supposed to be taken off, but it does feel nice to hold in the hand and much less likely to slip out of your hands, right? The hardware on here is 32 gigs of storage and 2 gigs of RAM. The screen is 6.2 inches. With all of that said, let's jump into the functionality of this unit. I am in a BMW X7, so we will be looking at BMW software. Software will depend on the vehicle make and model. And yes, this supposedly supports over 100 car brands and like 100,000 models. Not all functionality will be available in all vehicles. That's pretty standard, but I will be able to show you what is available on BMWs. So of course you can use auto search. This is automatic VIN find, so we'll find the VIN of your vehicle and take you to the correct software. Or you can go to diagnose, which will show all the vehicle makes that are supported. So we can go to, for example, American. So here are all of those American brands, and like I said, it's a touchscreen. You can go to European. Look, it supports even Lamborghini and Maybach and Polestar and even some Russian cars, Asian cars. So basically every vehicle that supports OBD2 will be supported here, some more than others. And from here you can also do OBD and IM functionality, but I will not be showing that in this video as that's pretty standard stuff that you can do on very basic scanners. So I don't think there's a point. You wouldn't be getting this scanner to do standard OBD2 functionality. Anyway, let's jump into that European cars, BMW. And there you go. It quickly found that we are in a BMW. So now we can do automatic search or manual select. If you go to manual select, we can select the vehicle manually, or we can go to automatic search. We'll now scan the VIN one more time and then find the specific part of the software that we need to use. And there you go, all the information pulls out pretty quick. Yes, I'm in a BMW X7, xDrive 40i, that is correct. So I'm gonna hit next. Now we have two options, health report or system scan. Health report is actually really useful if you want to show your customer the issues on the vehicle or before and after, things like that. So let's do that first. But system scan is basically the same thing, except it scans the modules without showing you the codes, and then you can go in deeper into each one. So in this vehicle, we can see a couple of codes popped up on the engine module, but we have the other modules here as well that are in normal state. Now, this is the very important part of this scanner. This supports 4 major systems on your vehicle. That means it supports engine, ABS, SRS, and transmission systems. It will not scan any other systems. Now, does that mean it can only scan, 4 modules? No. As you can see, it has scanned 7 modules, so there could be multiple modules within each system. So for example, we have ABS and EPS, so probably the power steering is within the ABS system, so we get all of those systems pop up on here. That also means that it's not able to scan everything else. So if you need to get into the antenna module or the central locking module or whichever other module, it will not scan it. So that's very important to understand. This is why this scanner is under $200, while other scanners that have the same capabilities will be more than $400. It is limited to 4 systems. All right, with all of that out of the way, let's see what it looks like. So I'm just going to jump into that module, the one that has some issues. Okay, that's the information about the module, which was the part right here, module information. We can go again to read fault codes, and there you go. We have those right there with the fault code. And these are going to be BMW specific, not the generic ones. And then you have a little bit more information on it. You can look it up, especially if you're connected to the internet, and you can create a report as well. So you would fill in the rest of the information if you like. So you can present this to your customer or even just save it for yourself by creating a PDF or sharing it directly from the unit. Once we're back at this menu, we can go to clear codes. Yes, I would like to clear the codes. And there you go, the codes have been cleared, so we're going to go to read fault codes, and a couple of them are coming back. So these will be permanent codes, and it even says right there, permanent codes. These will not clear out. So you would have to investigate, fix the issue. Once the issue is fixed, then you can go in, clear those again, and see if the codes come back. So that's pretty cool, but what makes this scanner special is that it also has live data streaming right there, read data streams, as well as actuation test, which is bidirectional functionality. Let's start with read data stream. I went to the gear selector switch just because I think that's a little bit more interesting than the engine PIDs. Those are available through standard OBD2 functionality. But here you go. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna do select all, hit OK, and there you go. All of that information gets pulled directly from the module. As an example, we have lock manual gate, release button status. So I'm just gonna press a button on, I just pressed the unlock button. Look at that. See, so it's represented on the screen. So if you need to look at some live data from one of the modules that are supported, super useful. But we can also create a report from here and record it to review it later. Now, with that done, we can go back and we can go to actuation testing. And this is really cool. This is bidirectional functionality. So we can reset the control unit, very helpful, or we can go to general information and actuate actual parts of the vehicle. So for example, we can go to functional display and we're going to activate that. So what this will do is activate all of the LEDs on the gear selector switch. There you go. All the LEDs are activated now. All right, so that's part 1 of the bidirectional functionality. Of course, different modules will show different information, but that is what makes this scanner more valuable than a lot of other scanners. We can also go into transmission and see the same stuff. So I'll just quickly run through this, and also notice how quick everything goes between the screens and how quickly the data loads. Very impressive for the scanner. But look at all this other stuff we can see, like operating variables of the transmission. So we can do select all, hit OK. There you go. All that stuff just quickly shows up. I'm just going to rev up the engine to show you a little bit more information moving around. Turbine speed. How cool is that? Look at that. So all of this stuff shows up very quickly. And this is probably a better thing to show you graphed. Look how quickly that responds. We can also combine this screen. So now the two items are being shown together. Of course, we can change what we want to graph. So if we want to graph, engine temperature instead, so I'll just uncheck gear and do engine temperature. There you go. So now we have the engine temp plus the RPMs in the same screen. Going all the way back, if we go to, for example, the SRS system, same stuff, right? We can go to read data stream, ignition circuit, look at all the information we can pull up here. All of these sensors as well, a lot more general information, so like seat occupancy, very, very useful. The second part of bidirectional functionality is actually under maintenance. So once we go in here, we have these 7 special reset functions, and actually this is where you're gonna make your money back. Just using one of these functions on your DIY job will basically pay for this scanner. As an example, if you need to bleed your brakes, well, you have this ABS bleeding function, so this will do it for you. You have battery matching, so when you change the battery on modern vehicles, well, you have to register it. This will do it for you. It will not code a different value for the battery like some scanners can do, but it will register an exchange. We also have brake pad resets. So you're doing your brakes, you need to reset that sensor, you can do that. Electronic throttle adaptation, also very important. Gear learning, oil reset, steering angle reset. So very useful functions. Of course, there could be a lot more, and this is the limitation of the scanners. There's only 7. There are some scanners that have 40 of these, but you are paying less than 50% compared to those other scanners. And well, that's pretty much it. So if you are a DIY mechanic or a weekend warrior like me, the FX6000 Elite offers impressive capabilities at a competitive price. Of course, you're not going to be running super in-depth diagnostics with this, and you are limited to the systems that it supports. But if you're working within those 4 systems, this is exactly what you need. Check out the links in the description. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!